Evil. Why Ken's wrong. Evil is yet another word that Ken Wheeler uses constantly, but not thoughtfully. Find out how the angry photographer's understanding of evil is inconsistent with traditional philosophy, and why his description of evil doesn't stand up to serious scrutiny. Evil is a very loaded word. It's only vaguely defined, and it's one of those accusatory words that we're all tempted to throw at each other when we disagree. The notion of evil goes back to the dawn of civilization. We've always felt frustrated and confused about the simple fact of life that bad things happen to good people for no reason. Supernatural powers or beings like evil spirits, dark forces, witches, or werewolves were one way of coping with this disturbing reality. Ken Wheeler often resorts to this, appealing to ghosts and demons and other supernatural entities, although this simply rationalizes his inability to explain evil. Traditionally, philosophers have recognized two kinds of evil, natural and human. Natural evil included catastrophes like earthquakes, tornadoes, famines, and plagues. Human evil described what Robbie Burns called man's inhumanity to man. That includes genocides, atrocities, and the barbaric ways we sometimes treat each other. Scholars could partially explain away human evil by appealing to our own free will. It seemed harder to explain why the world included random natural disasters. This was a particular problem for the Platonists and the Neoplatonists, like Ken Wheeler's heroes Plotinus and Iamblichus. They believed that everything emanated from a perfect, inherently good absolute, so natural evil didn't seem to make any sense. As Plotinus put it, those inquiring whence evil enters into beings, or rather into a certain order of beings, would be making the best beginning if they established, first of all, what precisely evil is. So far, nobody has truly accomplished that, to anyone's satisfaction. The Neoplatonists tried to rationalize their beliefs by arguing that our material world is like shadows in a cave. They believed that evil is merely the absence of good, just as darkness is simply the absence of light. Some Neoplatonists claimed that we go through a hierarchy of existence in a kind of soul test. Others taught that what seems evil to us serves a higher purpose beyond our understanding. But none of these rationalizations seemed convincing. Philosophers focused more intently on evil after the horrors of the two world wars. The crimes against humanity committed by leaders, institutions, and general populations prompted scholars to reconsider events that no word other than evil seemed to depict. In particular, Hannah Arendt examined the Holocaust in terms of what she called radical evil. She defined radical evil as actions that people do for no humanly understandable motive, not even self-interest. Radical evil actions result from desires to exert control and eliminate barriers to action. She also pointed out how banal or terrifyingly normal war criminals like Adolf Eichmann could commit monstrous atrocities. Despite all the reflection throughout history that the world's greatest minds have devoted to understanding what we call evil, there's no consensus on what it is or why it exists. Many scholars question whether we should even use the word evil. Naturally, none of this controversy deters Ken Wheeler from pronouncing his own doctrine on evil. He claims to be able to define evil and to list all of its distinctive traits. According to the angry photographer, evil hates beauty. Apparently, Kentucky Ken is unaware that Hitler, Stalin, Nero, Ivan the Terrible, Charles Manson, and Pol Pot all shared a passion for beauty, the arts, music, and culture. The Theoria Apophasis host insists that evil people seek attention. It doesn't seem to occur to him that many serial killers, terrorists, and criminal masterminds actively avoid public scrutiny and detection. There's another question we could ask about the notion that attention seekers are evil. What does that say about Kentucky Ken, who's devoted a decade of his life to producing over 8,000 YouTube videos and diligently amassing a following of over 300,000 subscribers? Oddly, as we discuss under Hydra Why Ken's Wrong, Ken Wheeler is convinced that a hidden cabal of diabolical conspiracists controls the world. If evil people crave attention, why do our fiendish masters hide in the shadows? The angry photographer also claims that evil has a thirst for membership. This seems to result from his annoyance with Jehovah's Witnesses or Mormons knocking on his door. If only malevolent organizations recruit members or volunteers, we'd have to assume that groups like Habitat for Humanity, Doctors Without Borders, the Red Cross, Amnesty International, and even our local Rotary Club are irredeemably evil. Another sign of evil, according to the Theoria Apophasis host, is that it opposes homeschooling. The trouble with this assertion is that, as we discuss in more detail under Education, Why Ken's Wrong, some of America's most evil people were homeschooled. These include Sandy Hook school shooter Adam Lanza, white supremacists Chevy and Shane Kehoe, and Alaska serial killer Israel Keys. Homeschooling doesn't seem to be any sort of shield against the forces of evil. Apparently, Ken Wheeler simply defines evil as anything or anyone he dislikes. We should also be concerned about his statement that wisdom has no connection to the worldly realm where mere morality and ethics are praised by the many, and his description of his life stance as amoral monism. When discussing evil, Kentucky Ken engages in a bizarre analogy involving sheep, wolves, and sheepdogs. Oddly, despite aspiring to be a self-reliant farmer himself, his analogy's farmer is the diabolical, conniving master of everyone. One wonders if this is just another of Ken Wheeler's disanalogies, or if we should consider the angry photographer a wolf in sheep's clothing.